University of TYCO video series presents the Union Pacific Gondola variation by TYCO and MANTUA TYCO. There are 3 MANTUA TYCO versions, maintenance of way, 3 TYCO maintenance of way versions, and 4 TYCO Union Pacific versions without maintenance of way. Beginning with variation number 1, MANTUA TYCO Union Pacific maintenance of way. Notice the graphics here. As these graphics do change on the cars, we're going to cover all of them, and then you'll see all the differences coming up. MANTUA stamped on the inside of the car. 2214 is the number of the car at the top. Also note the MANTUA version cars have a flat finish. Variation 2, MANTUA TYCO Union Pacific maintenance of way gondola. Looking at the reporting marks, they have added O-27M and new 1 of 45, whereas the first issue had neither reporting marks on the car. Variation 3, MANTUA TYCO Union Pacific maintenance of way. Notice the fonts on this car are different than the second car shown. Also has the same markings, O-27M, kind of blurred tempo. Also has new 1 of 45. Here are all 3 shown for comparison. Main difference is the tempo graphics on the cars. First variation versus the second variation on the middle. Notice the O-27M is missing, as is new 145. Notice the fonts on the Union Pacific and the X159. Notice the maintenance of way graphics on each. With the wheel removed on one of the cars, all 3 are made by TYCO in USA. Please note this marking right here. These 3 would have been issued approximately 1967 to about 1972. Again, MANTUA TYCO approximate time of issue. The next 3 in the series, Union Pacific maintenance of way, these are all TYCO issued. All have different graphic fonts and reporting marks on the inside of the gondola. Noticed on the top car, the new of 145 is very visible and clear. Second car is smaller, a little blurred. Notice how the fonts change by looking at the picture here or video view. O-27M reporting mark is also retained on the TYCO maintenance of way issue. The year for these is approximately 1973 to 1975 for the maintenance of way version only. One note about the TYCO issue, if you notice the paint is glossy, whereas the MANTUA issue was all flat. Again, the TYCO 1973-75 maintenance away have gloss finish, whereas the MANTUA TYCO 1967 to 1972 have flat finish. These 2 TYCO maintenance of way Union Pacific gondolas were made in the USA. As you can see on the inside of the car here, made in USA. Very rare. Most TYCO was made in Hong Kong. TYCO also has 2190 stamped on the inside, whereas the MANTUA had 2214 with MANTUA where the TYCO is. Just recapping, these two TYCO variations are made in the USA. Stamped on the inside of the gondola, as you see here, as well as underneath the car, as you see here. Made by TYCO in USA. This is the TYCO Hong Kong variation. Notice the reporting marks and font is very thin, crisp, and clear. Also, whereas the first two you just seen have made in USA, this has made in Hong Kong, as you see here in the letters. And it's very shiny also. TYCO 2190, made in Hong Kong. Here are all three for comparison again, with the Hong Kong version on top and the Made in USA versions on the bottom. Beginning in 1976, the Union Pacific maintenance of way changes to the Union Pacific gondola without maintenance of way graphics. There are 4 variations on this TYCO Union Pacific issue in this scheme here. You are now viewing an approximate 1976 issue TYCO made in Hong Kong Union Pacific gondola. There is one thing to note about this one: the finish is flat, does not have a gloss except on the lettering. Most TYCOs had a shiny gloss coat on them. This card is lacking the finish. Retains TYCO 2190 stamped in it. However, has the made in but doesn't say the country on the inside, but it does say on the bottom of the car under the truck. With the truck removed, you can see here the same car made by TYCO stamped in Hong Kong underneath it, whereas the other 2 versions you've seen on the maintenance away were made in USA, except the 3rd issue, which was Hong Kong also. Again, this is the first variation on the TYCO issue beginning in 1976. Second variation, TYCO issue gondola Union Pacific. The font on this one is different than the first issue, as you see on the bottom, especially on the Union Pacific wording. The bottom of this car and the next 2 coming up have this only on the bottom, made by TYCO in, and it's blank. Also has made in stamped on the inside, but where it was made is blank also, as are the next 2 coming up on the variation. However, all 4 retain the TYCO 2190 stamp on the inside here on the end of the car. Third variation in the TYCO issue series, Union Pacific. Notice the font on this one versus the middle one and the first issue flat finish. Fourth variation TYCO issue, Union Pacific. Mainly it's the font difference. That's the main variation on all 4 of these, is the font and the made by TYCO Hong Kong stamp on the first one. For comparison of all 4 shown here, thank you for watching. Have a great day.